Maya Angelou, a phenomenal woman.
The most banned author in the U.S.
Powerful societies trying to push you back.
She was being elitist. Her way of thinking is outdated.
I never did anything wrong. Oh my, never.
Actress, dancer, activist.
Author of 36 books.
Nominated for a Pulitzer Prize.
Why were you a mute all those years?
My voice killed that man.
She had the voice of God.
I stopped speaking for almost 6 years.
Maya is one of the great literary voices of our time.
They said that I was crazy. Poor thing. She's mental, you know.
This poor ignorant woman, doesn't she know I will never speak?
Because of what you experienced?
I'm sure that's part of it.
The hells she lived through began at the age of 7.
When I was 7.5, I was raped. The rapist was a person very well known to my family. I was hospitalized. He had told me if I ever told, he would kill my brother, who was the only person I loved. My brother came to me, he was just about 9, and he asked me who did it. And I told him, if I tell, the man will kill you. He said, he can't kill me. I will not let him kill me. So I believed him, so I told him. And of course he told Mom, my mommy. The man was put in jail for 1 day and night and released. And 2 huge white policemen came into my mother's house. And they said, the man has been found dead, and it seems he was kicked to death. I thought my voice had killed him. That was my 7-year-old logic. So I stopped talking. Rape on the body of a young person introduces cynicism. And there is nothing quite so tragic as a young cynic, because it means the person has gone from knowing nothing to believing nothing. My mother's family and my mother did their best to woo me away from my mutism, but they didn't know what I knew. My voice could kill. And after a while, I think they just really got tired of the presence of this mad and sullen and silent child. So they sent me back to my grandma. The people in the town, they said that I was crazy, that I was retarded. Poor thing, she's mental, you know. And my grandmother would braid my hair and she'd say, sister, I know they think you're crazy, that you'll never talk. But when you get ready, you're gonna talk, sister. Mama knows. You're gonna be a teacher. Sister, you're gonna teach all over this world. I used to sit there and think, this poor ignorant woman, doesn't she know I will never speak? She gave me a little tablet and I kept that on my waistband. So if anybody asked me, what I thought, I would write it. I started to read books, I guess at about 8. And there was a woman in my town, Mrs. Flowers. She was black, she was so beautiful. And she wore a voile, and she'd walk.
In this little town?
In this tiny little town. And when I'd see her coming up the road, I just thought she was the prettiest thing God had made so far. And she took me to the library in the segregated school and told me, I want you to read from A to CH by the time I come back. And I would read everything. I would understand, whatever I could, but I would read. About 4 years after Mrs. Flowers started me to read, and really to read, I was about 12 and a half. Mrs. Flowers invited me to her house, and she used to make tea cookies and lemonade. And she'd give me that to drink, and she'd talk about poetry, and she'd read to me with this mellifluous voice. And she said, Maya, you do not like poetry. I got my tablet. I said, yes, ma'am. She wouldn't even look at my tablet. And she pointed her finger at me. She just shook her finger in my face. I ran out of her house. I ran back to my grandma. And Mrs. Flowers came back there and pointed her finger at me in front of Mama. She said, "You'll never love it until you speak it, until you feel it come across your tongue, over your teeth, through your lips. You will never love poetry, never." And she harassed me. She kept following me around and around. And finally, I went under the house and I tried to recite a poem. And I found I had left my voice. My voice hadn't left me.
Maya Angelou. Actress, dancer, activist.
Author of 36 books.
Nominated for a Pulitzer Prize.
A remarkable woman, Maya Angelou has spent most of her life striving to make the difference in this world for those who have yet to come.
History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you.
Maya Angelou died at the age of 86.
She had many daughters throughout the world. Her great gift to us is that she made us feel heard and seen and loved and worthy. You alone are enough, she taught me. And I am the woman I am today because she was. She was my anchor.
The people's poet.
Not just a voice for Black America, but all who know struggle.
Rising up in the face of the impossible.
What I have is a readiness to rage. If I see injustice anywhere, I speak up, I do something about it. What happens when we, a group of highly energized human beings, come together to talk about evil? What do we unleash?
I have a dream.
Those of us who choose to think we have something to say, one already knows that there will be adversaries. One is sustained, though, in the belief that what one has to say is right. There was someone before me. Someone found the path. Someone made the road before me. And I have the responsibility of making the road for someone who is yet to come. To encourage young people, to remind them that they may encounter many defeats, but they must not be defeated. And maybe it's necessary to encounter the defeats, to develop some courage. History cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you.